Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. If you're just joining us, we just spoke with a representative from the Alverno College Research Center for Women and Girls. We discussed their recent findings when it comes to the status of girls in Wisconsin. My next guest is Molly Bell. She's the founder and director of Bloom for Girls, LLC. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm eager to hear more about Bloom for Girls. Tell us more.
Sure. It started about 5 years ago, and I think in response to some of the things that we were hearing about, you know, the media usage, especially anxiety in girls, bullying. I'm a former advertising executive, and so I started it to start media awareness and media literacy about body awareness and girls' bodies being an instrument and not an ornament.
All right.
So that's where it started, but I felt really strongly that moms or primary caregivers would benefit from being involved and hearing what we're experiencing things together, you know, sparking those conversations so that you can go forth from a Bloom seminar and continue to discuss some of these issues and take them as far as you need to. So.
I think that's a great idea. And as you said, your goal is to educate and start conversation about the challenges that girls face today, which is created by digital culture, the mass media. I mean, everywhere we turn, whether it's magazines or online TV, there are these images that are presented to us, and sometimes you know, we like to compare ourselves to those images. And then there is, as you also mentioned, bullying and body image, but you do all this in a fun, constructive way. And what I love most is that this is not one of those situations where you have parents who are dropping their girls off and then picking them up when they're done. You are engaging the parents and the guardians in this as well, like you said, so that they kind of understand what's being said and done during these workshops and different things that you do.
Yes, and I think, you know, you hear from a lot of parents that their child will have this great experience, you know, whether it's a retreat or a camp or some other thing, but then they feel like their child's excited for a day or two and then they don't know how to keep it going. So that part of it was important to me, and I think what I've realized from doing these seminars is moms get a lot out of it. I don't think it is just about carrying conversation forward. I've had moms, one of the things we do in our Love Your Beauty seminar, which is the media literacy seminar, we actually have mom and daughter trace their bodies and think about what their bodies do. Like, I love my fingers because I can play piano, might be a good example. And I cannot tell you how many moms cry when I have their daughters write on their mom's body and talk about what they love about their mother and how much they're like, I never thought about my body being that kind of institution for my daughter, you know, like yes. I'm always worrying about, you know, my hair and what I wear and my weight and seeing that through their child's eyes, you know, what they see. And so it's really important.
Wow, that's a great point, because really at a young age, you know, you're influenced, and what you see every single day, usually as a child, are your parents. So, you know, if you see your parent, your mom putting on her mascara while she's driving, chances are you might end up doing that.
Right.
And you know, it's
right.
this little bitty thing
sure.
that almost kind of plant a seed and kind of say, this is okay, this is not okay. And so it makes parents be aware of what right. they're saying or what they're deeming as being a priority or important.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's really powerful. So last segment, we examined the results from Alverno's 2018-19 report on the status of girls in Wisconsin. So what are your thoughts when you look at some of those statistics?
I'm not shocked by the social media use, for example, and that girls seem to be having more hours of screen time. And I think girls are very attracted to that socialization, to what social media is bringing them. And I think it's my job in the work that I do to help them find ways to have a voice. They're going to those platforms to have a voice. And so it's my job to take these statistics and turn it into something positive. You know, help them understand that it doesn't matter whether you're on Pinterest or Snapchat, that your character matters, whether you're looking at a screen or you're looking at your best friend in the face. And so I think it's just taking all of that information and teaching girls how to have a sense of self, you know, that they can have it all, but they don't have to be it all. You know, who are they? What is their inner voice telling them? And how do they behave in those environments? So it's a tall order, but I feel like we plant some seeds in our seminars so that girls can go forward. And digital footprint is one of our workshops.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's thinking about not necessarily trying to keep up with technology, which I feel that I will constantly never make the finish line.
I'm way behind.
So you know, the way we go at it is you are always creating this footprint that cannot be erased.
That's right.
So you need to always be thinking about who you are in these environments. And if you make a mistake, like, you have to apologize in those environments just like you do when you're face to face. And thinking about how you want to present yourself, and that being yourself is ultimately going to be the easiest way to function in those environments. So
true. So true. And this is not just for girls. I mean, it's
absolutely
young people in general. Some of the pictures they take, you know, you're like, okay, what is that? But we may not understand because we're a little older and that might be their thing,
right.
You know, but you're right. It really matters because some of those pictures, when somebody Googles your name, they pop up, you know, right. And you're not always in control of what people see. And I think that that's something that everybody, adults as well, need to really understand, that their digital footprint is pretty major.
Right. Absolutely.
It really is.
I mean, colleges are looking at it now.
Yeah.
You know, jobs. I don't think you can apply for a job now and they're going to Google you.
They are.
And so it's thinking about, you know, what that footprint says, and that whatever goes out is staying. So.
Absolutely, and God forbid if somebody screenshots it.
Yeah.
You deleted it, but it's still there.
Absolutely.
So you also had a workshop on Love Your Beauty and I Am Healthy. So talk about those.
So actually for the summit, we have Dr. Michelle Linsmeyer, who's a pediatrician in town, is going to come and do the part about body health, and the body tracing that I mentioned is part of that workshop. But a lot of what Dr. Linsmeyer focuses on is helping girls and moms and primary caregivers understand that bodies come in all shapes and sizes. And the models that we see walking the runway, only 6% of women actually possess that body type.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily an unhealthy body type for those women, but that if you're trying to attain that, if you're the other 94%, that's an irresponsible thought. I think we just saw a headline about the gymnast that did the great floor routine, saying she's been body shamed.
Yes.
Well, her body type, she is strong.
Yes.
She is small.
Yeah, she's petite, but strong. Yes.
She's an amazing body, and she's very healthy. But you can't, you know, the 6'2" model that is built really petite is not her body, and the reverse. So
absolutely.
Dr. Linsmeyer takes a really great approach, you know, both medically and just allowing people in a casual way to sort of transition that information into an understanding. So she uses a lot of visuals to help people understand that you have to love your own body type and what healthy means for you.
Yeah, and understanding your body type. Like you said, if, you know, you're kind of 5'4" and you know, you wear a size 10, you already know that modeling is not going to be something we even pay attention to.
Absolutely.
You know, but some young ladies who are models, like Tyra Banks, talks about how, you know, she was super tall and people made fun of her, but that body type allowed her to go on to be a supermodel. So there's something special for everyone, and finding your own special thing is what it's all about.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you guys actually open up the organization to individuals who may be watching today. Can someone sign up?
Absolutely. So I have a Facebook page, Bloom for Girls. So that is the most accurate place to get information. There's a camp already on the calendar with Divine Savior Holy Angels High School, which is open to anyone, and it's for 4th through 8th graders. It'll be this summer, and so they have a programming called Summer Cool, and so they can register for that through Divine Savior Holy Angels website as well. And so I have lots of things on the docket, but if you watch the Facebook page, it'll give you the best information.
And keep everybody up to date. So phone number to call for more information on anything we've discussed.
262-751-7521.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
It's always fun for me to learn about organizations that are out here working hard, making a difference in the lives of the people that live right here in our city. So appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Thank you. Molly Bell, she's the founder and director of Bloom for Girls, LLC. For more information, you can visit their website at bloomforgirls.org, or like she said, go to their Facebook page or call 262-751-7521. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams, as always. Thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at Our Issues Milwaukee. Have a great day.